Hi everyone. So what I'm wanting to do is to just walk you through some queries which you can use to retrieve information from the database. Um, so in order for you to return information from the database, there are basic queries, but if you want to use, maybe if I can just call it advanced queries, then this set of or this recording is going to guide you through that. So after you've populated information from the database, you can provide the data to different applications, which is what a database administrator or a application developer should do. So this is normally done using SQL. You can also, in an Azure SQL database, you can also query information using XML queries, but we're not going to cover that at this point. So now, the basics of querying information in a database, if you're using SQL, what you want to do is to select, and then you also need to just specify the columns that you want to select, or if you want to use a wildcard, which is like the asterisk, which means that you're selecting all, and then you actually specify the table name or the table names if you're selecting from more than one table. And then you actually specify the condition if there's any condition for your select. So now, an example here is you want to select all from the student table, and then you actually get the information from the student table. And then now, if you're selecting using a specific condition, you actually use the where clause in your SQL. So here, a query is used to select all the students from a table where the surname is Cox. So the where clause here says where the surname equals Cox, and just in terms of your SQL, you just need to have your single quotes. But that's like hard coding. We actually know that if we want to use a placeholder where data will be selected or entered by a user, we just use at, and then we actually say at surname, and then in our code, in our Visual Studio Code, we actually specify what we're referring, what the condition that we want to select based on is. And then now we can actually use some of these logic operators in your SQL, for instance, and so if you say you're selecting where, and then there's a second clause where you say and, which is adding to the original clause, then it means that both conditions should be true. If, for instance, you're saying you're selecting all from student where the surname is Cox and the name is, for instance, my name, then both of those conditions should be true. But if you're having an or, it can either be, the surname is Cox, or if the name is, for instance, Maggie. Then if there's no Cox that has been selected, then at least Maggie should be there in order for you to display the data. And then not works against that, and then between, you actually take ranges. So if you're saying you're selecting all from student, between, you first start with the between, and then you have, say you're selecting marks between 0 and, you actually need to use the and then 49, then you actually specify what that is. And then another one is the like, which actually matches specific values or characters in, data. So these are just examples. For instance, this is the and this is the or I was talking about, and then this is how the and. So both parameter or the range should exist, and then the in over there, it's either that or the student ID or the next one over there. So if you're using the like operator, which is also a logical operator, there are some wildcards that you can use. So for instance, you can use the percentage sign to indicate that if you, for instance, here it says if you put that next to a letter, then all the information that starts with that letter or those letters, in front of it should be true. And then if you put an underscore, then you should actually look for a string that starts with the A that at least has 2 letters. And then if you use, the square brackets, and then you specify data inside the square brackets, then at least, so the name should start with an A and then have A, B, or C, which is that. And then, so you can also have, comparison operators, which compare different values or value sets from a database table, where if, for instance, you're comparing numbers, then both of numbers should equal. Or if you're comparing a date, then so if you're comparing a date values with this specific format, then the comparison starts from the year and not the the date value. Then if you're comparing money, then the value is viewed the same way as you view, for instance, a number. So thank you about that for listening to the recording. I'm going to do a part 2 of this recording, which is not going to be a very long video. Thank you.